Hello ladies and gentlemen, as promised, I'm here to briefly talk to you about Vicious by Schwab. You may recognize this name as the author of the notable YA novel, The Archived, which is a book that I need to read, so if you've read it, please let me know about it in the comments. Which received quite a bit of buzz here on BookTube. This is Schwab's first adult novel and was published earlier this year. First, I'd like to say that I think this novel is a book best talked about or discussed after reading it, so I don't think I'm going to do the usual breakdown. Which, by the way, how do you guys feel about the way that I've been approaching book talks lately? Yay? Nay? Let me know in the comments. On to Vicious. Vicious is a novel about Eli and Victor, roommates and friends, back in college. The book goes back and forth between 10 years in the past, when both of our characters were still in college, and to the present. While in college, our main characters were having to decide what they were going to do for their final thesis project. Eli decided to go into the unknown world of EOs, or extraordinaries, which are people who are believed to have unexplainable superhuman powers. Victor joins in on this research, and very early on in the novel, these characters learn that through near-death experiences or dying and being resuscitated, one can develop these powers. So there are some suicide triggers at the beginning of this book, so approach it with caution. But I'm not going to go into any of those details today in this video. So the whole book is leading up to this epic showdown between Eli and Victor in the present. Throughout the novel, we find out what led them from being friends to enemies. And throughout the novel, on the way to this showdown, the characters do some questionable and downright awful things. And they are joined and accompanied by some interesting characters who we also get a little bit of backstory along the way. I love how this book shakes up the typical idea of conflict between good and evil and makes you question what it means to be good and to be a hero. I also feel like this book did a great job of approaching character flaws such as hypocrisy and self-righteousness. Just because you don't understand something or it doesn't fit into the way that you think that things should work doesn't mean that it's wrong. And it doesn't give you the right to judge or police people because you're just as flawed and imperfect as everyone else. I also really love the explanation of these superpowers and how each superpower is unique to the individual. But I won't go into depth about it because it was fun to figure it out and discover it whilst reading it, and I would hate to steal that from you. It was a fast-paced novel with just enough action, super approachable. I know that it's marketed as adult fiction, but it could very easily be read by fans of YA. As you can probably tell, I was very pleased by this book, but by no means is it perfect. It's like a summer blockbuster superhero movie. You don't go into one of those movies expecting cinematic greatness or innovation. You expect to be entertained, and this book was just like that. It was pure entertainment. It just makes you feel good. Sure, we could have gotten some extra insight and backstory into the main characters, and some of the plot twists and turns were a tad bit hokey, but it was just fun to read. And actually, in the acknowledgement, Schwab mentioned going to see superhero movies in preparation for writing this novel, which I thought was a fun way to research a project. And it definitely shone through in this book, but in the best way. One more thing that I enjoyed about this book is that as of yet, it's a standalone, which is like a rare little jewel nowadays. But the novel did end in a way that is open to a sequel, but I hope that doesn't happen. Although, I would not be opposed to a novel set in the same universe. I think that would be fun. I am a fan of this book, and I think you could be too. I'm actually surprised to not have heard more about it here on BookTube. I think that's all I have to say about Vicious by Schwab. I think that this book would be really fun to talk about if you've read it, so if you have, please let me know about it in the comments below, and be careful about spoilers, just in case there are people that want to read it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye.